Welcome, viewers, to Bodhi Unified Flow. Here we simplify complexity and amplify performance. Today, we're tackling something that is absolutely crucial. It will literally alter the trajectory of your life. We are talking about how to actually pay for your higher education. Specifically, our focus today is career navigation after grade 12 in Tamil Nadu and across India. We're going to dive deep into scholarship hunting, funding your education through the First Graduate Scholarship in TN, the National Scholarship Portal, private CSR grants, and finally, measuring your education loan ROI. If you're planning your post-secondary transition, consider this explainer your ultimate financial survival guide. Here's a quick look at our agenda for this explainer. We'll start with our learning objectives, explore the TN First Graduate Scholarship, navigate the National Scholarship Portal, check out private CSR grants, break down education loans and subsidies, and wrap up with education ROI. Let's get right into it. Section 1. Introduction and Learning Objectives. Establishing your financial blueprint. By the end of this session, you're going to have some real, actionable insights to fund your education. We want you to easily distinguish between money you're legally entitled to versus money you actually have to compete for. We'll demystify those clunky application portals so you don't get stuck. More importantly, we're going to teach you about additionality. It's basically the art of stacking multiple scholarships together. And finally, you'll learn how to calculate the ROI for professional degrees, which is absolutely vital to keep you out of dangerous financial traps. Before we look at solutions, we have to talk about the elephant in the room: education inflation. You know, degrees used to be highly subsidized and affordable, but today, it's a completely different ballgame. The escalating cost of tertiary education means navigating this funding maze is now just as critical to your success as your academic merit. Frankly, a high board score means absolutely nothing if you can't fund the seat. Section 2. TN First Graduate Scholarship, the foundation of first-generation support. Okay, let's start with state entitlements. The Tamil Nadu government uses this specific policy to help first-generation students break the cycle of poverty. This isn't a competition. It is a legally recognized entitlement. To qualify, you must be a permanent resident, and here's the catch: absolutely no member of your family, including parents and siblings, can have graduated. It's strictly capped at an annual parental income of 2.50 lakhs. If you meet these criteria, you just pay a 60 rupee fee on the eSavai portal, and you can use this in government, government-aided, or even private colleges under the government quota. So what does this entitlement actually mean for your wallet? Up to 25,000 rupees. That is the maximum annual tuition waiver typically provided to engineering students under this scheme. It effectively wipes out the portion of the fee that would normally fall on your shoulders under the single-window counseling system. That significantly lowers your financial burden every single year you're in college. Now, the mechanics of getting this money are fully digital, but they're incredibly strict. First, you need your parents' transfer certificates. If they never went to school, a self-declaration backed by community certificates and ration cards works too. Next, you and your parents have to sign Annex 8, the joint declaration. This is a legal guarantee of your non-graduate status. You submit all this through the paperless eSavai portal, and it gets authorized by the headquarters deputy tehsildar. A quick tip here: do this early. Do not wait until counseling begins. But the support definitely doesn't stop at just tuition waivers. Tamil Nadu also runs the Puthumai Penn scheme. This gives 1,000 rupee monthly direct benefit transfer straight into the bank accounts of girl students from government schools. It's perfect for covering everyday costs like transport and books. And remember that word I mentioned earlier? Additionality? Unlike a lot of central schemes, you can stack Puthumai Penn right on top of your first graduate and SC/ST scholarships. Also, if you studied in a state government school from class 6 to 12, there's a 7.5% horizontal reservation. This is a total cost model. The government covers your tuition, your hostel, and your mess fees. It essentially removes every single financial barrier. Section 3. National Scholarship Portal, Federal Merit-cum-means Framework. Stepping up to the federal level, the Ministry of Education offers the central sector scheme of scholarship. Now, unlike state welfare, this one is strictly a merit-cum-means game. You need to score above the 80th percentile in your Class 12 boards, and your family income has to be below 4.50 lakhs. If you fit the bill, it provides highly reliable funding, 12,000 rupees a year for your first 3 years, which then bumps up to 20,000 rupees in your 4th or 5th year for professional and technical degrees. Section 4. Private CSR Grants, Philanthropic Corporate Funding. This is where things get really interesting. Corporate funding usually comes in two main flavors, and you can see that right here. On one hand, you have the Reliance Foundation. They are heavily merit-driven, offering up to 2 lakhs for undergrads. But there's a catch. You can't just rely on board marks. You have to pass their specific aptitude tests and interviews. On the other hand, programs like HDFC Parivarsan are means-driven. They act as a critical safety net for students whose families are facing severe economic crises, offering up to 75,000 rupees. You really need to know which profile you fit and target your applications accordingly.
Section 5. Education loans and subsidies. Deficit financing and safety nets.
Sometimes scholarships just aren't enough, and we have to look strategically at deficit financing. Don't panic, though. The government has streamlined borrowing to protect students from predatory lenders. Your very first stop should be the PM Vidya Lakshmi Unified Portal. Think of it as a single window to over 40 banks. You just filter loans by interest rate and region, upload your digital admission letters and income proofs, and you can secure collateral-free loans up to 7.5 lakhs. They're lending based on your future earning potential, not your current physical assets.
And here is the absolute ultimate safety net if you're taking out a loan. If your family income is up to 4.5 lakhs, you must look into the Central Sector Interest Subsidy, or CSIS scheme. It is a lifeline. It covers the interest component on your loan during the entire moratorium period. That means while you're studying and for 1 year after, you aren't silently accruing crippling interest. It stops that debt from invisibly compounding while you're just trying to focus on your classes.
Section 6. Education ROI and Conclusion. Navigating the reality check. All right, this is the ultimate reality check. The fundamental question facing any grade 12 graduate today is no longer just, what can I study? It's, is the cost of this degree actually worth the starting salary? Look at this. This is the engineering cost trap. A 4-year BTech at a top-tier private institution can easily balloon to over 34 lakh rupees when you factor in tuition, hostels, and living expenses. Yet the average starting salary is anchored around 4.74 lakhs a year. That is a massive, massive cost-to-income mismatch. If you don't finance it properly, you are looking at decades of debt.
So let's bring it all together and synthesize our learning objectives into a clear strategic roadmap. First, secure your entitlements early. Things like the First Graduate Scheme are stable foundations because they don't depend on a percentile ranking. Second, leverage additionality. Go ahead and stack your Puthumai Penn DBT with your federal NSP funds and your state tuition waivers. Third, if you're aiming for those massive CSR grants like Reliance, you've got to prepare for their aptitude tests right alongside your board exams. And finally, always calculate the ROI. A prestigious college brand just isn't worth it if the debt-to-salary ratio is going to ruin your financial future.
I want to leave you with a provocative thought as you plan your big transition. Knowing the severe cost-to-income mismatch in the modern economy, what exact combination of entitlements, federal grants, and private scholarships will you stack? How will you engineer your own debt-free financial blueprint for the years ahead?
To wrap things up, here are the official portals and references cited throughout today's explainer, from the eSaveI portals to PM Vidya Lakshmi. Take a screenshot, dive into these resources, do your own research, and take total control of your educational transition. Thank you for learning with Bodhi Unified Flow. Until next time, stay curious and stay focused.